profound under London, a distinctive art enterprise is take location. Us painter Taryn Simon has driven along Vocational Mourners of About the Planet, of Azerbaijan to Venezuela, for a melodic productivity how investigates how cultures mourn the fleeting of such we favor it. Several times a date, a little mob assembles on a sidewalk following to a nondescript door in polar London. The big grey doors see love thing a constructor put up in a rush. But over them, and downward the cliff-specific stairs for, down there's lie an art install that has been year in the manufacturing. Michael Morris is company director of Artangel, the organization house making Taryn Simon's draft an invasion of losing. We were impressed to find a kind of subterranean stupidity in Islington part finished under a habitation draft, he says. He's 3 stories profound and components of it could nearly be a loose Italian opera building. But he's as well love an old amphitheater done of specific and breeze blocks. He's the ultimate area for the emergency things Taryn is making. I loving the reality how nearly not one knew it was there. To begin every productivity, the auditorium is led downward in silent to a offering circular balcony, top over a center blank area. About 20 performers come under and get up official position about the end of dark. Separately, or in groups of 2 or 3, the singers start to cry or urge out in their own languages. It is their selected occupation to grieve the corpse. The performers go of Ghana, Greece, China, Burkina Faso, and Kyrgyzstan, amongst some places. For 45 protocol, the auditorium is leftward to roam easily as emergency wave propagation of audio collapse via the shadows. Mostly he's a chapel, though the unseeing Aníbal González of Ecuador acting and piano accordion too much. The impact is fascinating, chaos, mystery, and at times scary. Taryn Simon says she begun thought on Vocational Mourners 7 years back. It was thing I found at first in publication, she explains. I was really aware how in places like the US or the UK, the concept of human beings creature pay to visit a burial facility or wake up to grieve on some human being's name appears odd. Down there's surely no website or agent who can put you in pin in Vocational Mourners About the Planet. The intended months of study in musicologists, anthropologists, linguists, and some expert. Still which you listen and see in the install nearly all derives of before Islamic and before Christian cultures. He's an old event that is yet essential external the British-speaking planet. A various release was seen 2 years ago in Manhattan, at the Garden Prospect Arsenal Arts location. But in New York, an invasion of losing wasn't profound subterranean. Quite, the underground nature in London reinforces the occasion's vision-like, though harassing, impact. The performers are all lot in consumer demand at household. Aníbal González gives his productivity at up to 5 funerals a date. Several as well execute their laments on phase. Taryn Simon says the civilization of weeping has a mainly woman attention. I quickly implemented sort acting a cute big part in the occupation. Several of the forms of weeping are executed just by female for female. Female are weeping the uncried burst into tears of the men since men are not permitted to scream. In several of these forms, the female include to person aside and fumes themselves in the trial of sorrow, proper a substitute for man sorrow. He's frequently the instance how their own mothers were vocational mourners and now maybe their daughters are too much. I aware he's been a significant expertise for them to go to New York and London to encounter human beings making a such item on a various mainland. Simon says such who were driven up in some cultures include to do a psychological jump to take the reasonableness of weeping who you didn't aware. In several cases, the mourners though go to burst into tears but down there's anything fake on how, she says. The includes Afua Akimpoma and Hannah Kodo, 2 performers of Ghana, wherever weeping is seen as a homage to the dead. More than weeping represents more than acceptance. They include several human beings in reason how enable them to reach the emotion country thou eyewitness in the install. In Ghanaian civilization, which they do encourages a common express of sorrow. Greece is one Europe nationality how retains a powerful civilization of executed weeping. The sounding of Vangelis Kotsos, Nota Kaltsouni and Nikos Menudakis echoing via the area. Which there sing are old laments of old Epirus, she says. Couple of them will chant a developed release of the morn time. The tertiary improvises about them in the vote of a poultry. He's a before Christian experience that Sophocles wrote on, mandatory the history of a lifetime to its following life. Yet the morn can occasionally not be for the corpse at all. It can say on war or issues of migration, but it connects us to the way human beings mind in old Greece. As auditorium members keep, they are presented a leaflet that accounting records the long efforts to save visas for every of the performers. Someone go to London. It intentionally bonds old civilization to present policy concerns. We dwell in facility times, Simon says. An invasion of losing doesn't commentary on how immediately. Yet in New York my company curator frequently thick felt love the country division. They were the ones dictating who was permitted in the nation to get portion and who was no. Eventually how confusion and loneliness is, which I expertise as the origin of the chunk. An invasion of losing continues before April 28.